Nigahiga, the YouTube channel led by Ryan Higa that started in 2006. The second YouTube channel to ever reach 1 million subscribers. The most subscribed YouTube channel for 677 days in 2009 to 2011. Currently sitting at 20.8 million subscribers. To this day, Ryan is known to be one of the most genuine OG YouTubers and is a huge inspiration to Asian Americans, which I can definitely attest to as a fellow Asian American who was in school during this peak era. If you didn't know about Nigahiga, you were living under a rock. I swear, this age of Nigahiga, Wongfu Productions, Michelle Fan, Happy Slip, Kev Jumba, just to name a few, felt super formative in creating this sense of identity around Asian Americans being cool, which might sound silly, but was really super impactful. Starting with lip syncing videos, parodies, and skits, to more elaborate series, movies, a production company, and a podcast, Nigahiga has been through a lot of evolutions. In this video, we'll be going over how the channel started, some creation highlights and nostalgic work, the RHPC, Ryan's conflict with YouTube over time, and what has happened since Nigahiga's last video. So let's get into it. Ryan Higa was born in Hawaii in 1990 with two loving parents and an older brother. He says it himself in his Draw My Life video from 2013. He describes his middle school days as being pretty tough. He was bullied at school, he constantly felt compared to his high-achieving older brother, he didn't have that many close friends. During this time, he had some dark thoughts. He then was able to find a way to end the bullying on his own terms through humor. He figured out that if he could make other people laugh, then they would stop bullying him so much. So when people made fun of him, he would just make fun of himself even harder. And it actually worked. Around the same time, he found out that he really enjoyed recording things. At some family reunion, he was given the task to film the event, but when they watched his recordings back, it turned out that he wasn't filming anything except his own stuff, like the POV of an ant. So he basically captured nothing that he was supposed to, but people found it funny to watch, so he just kept recording films to share. It turned into making skits, lip syncs, and parodies with his neighbors and his friends. In high school, he gained more confidence after making friends with people on his wrestling team and losing weight in a short time frame to meet his weight class for a match. He said after he was able to do that, it switched his mindset into believing that he could get anything he wanted as long as he worked for it. By 2006, he started putting videos on YouTube to share with his friends and family. He realized that his YouTube was actually starting to pop off when he noticed his videos were getting thousands of views and comments from strangers, so he just kept on going. These early videos featured himself and his friends, but most notably his friend Sean Fujiyoshi. In the early days, although it was technically always Ryan's channel, it was giving duo energy with him and Sean both being super loved by fans. They even got a movie together called Ryan and Sean's Not So Excellent Adventure that came out in 2008. I've personally never watched it, but the reviews aren't that great, so if you have watched it, please let me know in the comments what you think of it. Unfortunately, a lot of the lip syncing videos that started the channel are no longer here with us due to copyright claims on the music. The oldest video still up now is How to Be Ninja from 2007. So Ryan started YouTube in high school, but then it came time to go to college like his parents wanted, so he ended up going to UNLV for nuclear medicine. He ended up hating school, and after just 2 years in college, he told his parents that he was dropping out to pursue YouTube full-time. This was around 2009 when he was already in the YouTube Partner Program and able to show that he was making some money. Sean actually went to college in Oregon to study mechanical engineering, which explained his absence from the channel during this time period. In May 2009, Nigahiga reached 1 million subscribers. Watching back some of his older videos from that year is so wild because the camera quality was so bad, like it looks like it was filmed with a potato, but none of us cared, like we didn't even notice, that was just normal. Through the years, Nigahiga has produced some peak YouTube content. Some notable series were the Off the Pill series, which is in reference to Ryan not taking his ADHD medication and then ranting about things, the Dear Ryan series where he would do skits answering questions that viewers left in the comments, and Schizo, which was a series of skits with multiple characters, all played by himself. Each of these videos would get well over 10 million views, and we're in 2009 to 2013 range. This is the largest and most famous YouTuber that we've covered on this channel so far. In 2011, he created his second channel called Higa TV, where he'd post behind the scenes content and other fun series or vlogs. Ryan would also do do collabs with other popular YouTubers at the time like Kev Jumba, JK Films, Wongfu Productions, D-Trix, David Choi, Hina Granis. What can I say? The squad was squatting. Technically not an official squad, but the Asian YouTubers were collabing it up back in the day. All of these channels together had a big impact on the Asian American community. I will be repeating that sentiment throughout this video because it's so true. And although all of the collabs definitely helped to boost everyone's overall reach and growth, Ryan has said that none of these collabs were really done for that reason. It was mostly just because he had become friends with these people and the collabs just came naturally from hanging out. Speaking of collaborations, in 2010 we got the movie Agents of Secret Stuff, aka ASS, where Higa TV and Wongfu Productions were executive producers. Ryan and Wongfu wrote it together and then Wongfu directed it. Ryan also starred in it as the main character, and his co-star is the actress and singer Arden Cho. Ryan and Arden do end up dating in the future after this, but they are no longer together. Some other wild things that Ryan achieved is that he was a judge for the YouTube show called Internet Icon. I don't know if y'all remember this, but the only reason I really watched it was because I found out Ryan was a judge. Basically, some aspiring YouTubers go on the show and they complete different creative challenges, and then their videos are judged and then people get eliminated. They had guest judges who were other big YouTubers. When researching for this, I found out that Ryan was also one of the founders for the channel network that produced the show, which honestly makes sense. And the host of the show was the singer and actor Chester C, which you would probably also remember if you're a Nigahiga fan at this time because they were also collabing it up. I'm talking about the song Bromance that came out in 2012. Chester wrote the music and the lyrics and sang the chorus, and Ryan had multiple rap verses on it. The music video on YouTube currently has over 49 million views. And this wasn't Ryan's first music release. The year prior, in 2011, we got the music and video for Nice Guys that has over 91 million views. A lot of those views are probably from me. Chester sings on it, and Ryan and Kev rap their verses. And all of that was produced by YTF Productions. YTF was a music dance comedy group made up of YouTubers Ryan Higa, Chester C, D-Trix, Kev Jumba, JR Aquino, Victor King, and Andrew Garcia. YTF officially stands for Yesterday, Today, Forever. In a podcast episode from 2019, Ryan and JR talk about YTF. The group really just started because they were all friends first, already hanging out, and then they just wanted an excuse to do fun stuff together and tour together. To answer how it ended, there's no one single reason. Lack of communication was definitely a factor, as well as people's schedules getting busier with their own commitments and individual drama between some of the members, even though mostly they're all still friends. And I cannot talk about the music that Ryan was involved in without also mentioning the boy group BGA, which stands for Boys Generally Asian. They produced two songs, one in 2016 called Dong Sayate and one in 2017 called Who's It Gonna Be, each getting 19 million and 16 million views respectively. They called their group the result of 5 guys who can't sing, dance, or really speak Korean and try to start a K-pop band. The group members featured Wongfu's Phil Wang, David Choi, Justin Sean, Jun Sung An, and Ryan. Their music was produced by David and was written by Ryan and David. Other than music and YouTube related projects, Ryan also founded an energy drink in 2016 called Ninja Melk. It was named after a short film that was posted on his channel in 2009. Ryan has talked about the reason he came up with it being that he was addicted to caffeine but wanted to make something that was a bit healthier, since a lot of times he found himself wanting to drink something with caffeine in it but didn't actually need the high amount of caffeine that was in the drinks being offered. He tried to first make the drink organic, but then he found out that not only was that going to make everything more expensive, but people also didn't really care. He also tried doing sugar-free without any fake additives, but he quickly found out that it's not possible to do that either, since the drink would taste awful. Unfortunately, they did discontinue the brand in early 2023, citing supply chain issues as the reason. So Ryan was not the only one producing his YouTube videos. As his channel grew, the scope of the projects that he wanted to create also grew, which meant that he would need a team to help get everything done. Hence, the Ryan Higa Production Company was formed, aka RHPC. In a video from 2017, Ryan retells the story of how RHPC came to form. Since there was no real introduction for the group, they all just started appearing in videos and behind the scenes content starting from around 2010 and on. So essentially, after Ryan left college, he briefly moved to LA in 2010. While there, he became friends with D-Trix and met RHPC members Greg, Will, and Dana through him. Greg and Dana had already been together at this point. They were high school sweethearts from my understanding, misunderstanding. 2 years later, Ryan, Greg, Dana, and Will all moved to Vegas and Dietrich stays in LA. Around the same time, Sean finishes college in Oregon and rejoins the group. Once all in Vegas, they meet Derek, which I'm not 100% sure how they met Derek, but it seems like it could be a similar connection to Dietrich's because Derek is also a dancer. And then at the end of the video, they just add in Paco with no additional context provided. But from some internet searching, it seems like it's possible Ryan met Paco via Internet Icon Season 2, while Ryan was a judge around 2013. The RHPC helped with production, set and costume design, editing, filming, everything, with Ryan still being the main creative brain behind all of the content. So this whole video so far has been pretty lighthearted and fun, but now we're getting into the more sad aspect of this retelling of what happened to Nigahiga. It's been pretty widespread knowledge that Ryan has had beef with YouTube's ever-changing algorithm. This dates back to 2017 in his Life of a YouTuber video where he announced that he wrote a book called How to Write Good and is going on a book tour, which first of all is funny because it reminds me of the whole book writing mini side rant that we covered in our What Happened to the Brick Crew video. But anyways, in the video he says that writing a book shows that he's in one of the final stages of being a YouTuber, and then he goes over all of the stages. Stage 5 notably is the one that, quote, the fun has died. He talks about how after reaching the peak of your YouTube career, things start to slow down and you start doubting your content. So because things slow down, you try and change your content so that your growth will be like it used to be, but then it doesn't end up working, and then you get into this desperation mode. Your content no longer becomes content that you started with, it's just anything to get you views. But then stage 6 is when you become positive and say it's all good, but then stage 7 is when you realize that stage 6 was just a front and that you're lying to everyone and you're lying to yourself, so maybe you should just quit and pursue something else. Then stage 8 is when you come back feeling refreshed after taking a break, but then that refreshed feeling doesn't last long because now your views are down because you were gone for so long and now you're back to making content that you hate. Step 9 is writing a book, and eventually the final stage is going back to stage 1 when things are fun again, but more fun than before, but also knowing that you're eventually gonna get back into the bad stages again. The really unfortunate thing here is that I don't think it ever got more fun for Ryan. Analyzing what he said about his time on YouTube after all of this is over, it sounds like he was really just stuck cycling through stages 6, 7, and 8. Then in September 2018, Sean leaves the channel. The news is that he's moving to California to be with his girlfriend and use his engineering degree. They plan him a surprise going away party, and Ryan writes and sings him a song about how they're gonna miss him. They filmed an entire music video and some goodbye messages. They prepare him some gifts that are half troll and half serious because they're all like really stupid funny gifts that have actually really thoughtful meanings behind them. It's just too good. Like, Dana gives him a shirt that she replaced the armpit area with a lighter shirt color because apparently Sean is the sweatiest member and always wanted a shirt like that so that when he sweats people can't see the sweat stains. It's just so funny and just a wholesome video overall. A lot of people online say that they think that this was one of the main factors of Nigahiga ending because Sean was this irreplaceable character in the overall universe. And while I do agree that Sean is irreplaceable on the channel, I do think that Ryan's frustration with YouTube is the real thing at hand. I don't think that Sean leaving had as much of a weight as people are saying it did. I also think it's kind of unfair to say that to Sean because Sean was just trying to live his life and move on to his next chapter. He didn't cause some downfall or end to his friend's channel. A couple months later, in January 2019, Ryan posts a video called If I Quit YouTube, where he says that he's not quitting right now, but there are going to be a lot of changes on the channel. He says that over the past year, he had really been considering quitting YouTube, and it's not that he doesn't want to do it anymore, but he just wasn't having fun, which he acknowledges is kind of a privileged problem to have because a lot of people don't have fun doing their jobs. But I do think it's fair to point out when your job requires you to be creative. If you aren't having fun and thus can't be creative anymore, then that is a problem that directly interferes with your work. You can't really brute force it. So he goes on to say that he's been needing inspiration and that's why he didn't post that much in the previous year, and then he fell into the trap of trying to make videos that work versus making videos that he actually wanted to make. Towards the end of the year, he did try to post things he wanted to make, and he felt the consequences of lower views and more dislikes. So now he realized that he's going to make some changes in the channel where he's still gonna post the content that does well and that people are used to, but now in between those, he'd also be posting things that he just genuinely wants to post, like rants that don't necessarily have skits in them, or skits that don't have vlogs or ridiculous songs inserted inside them, and posting a podcast. The podcast was called Off the Pill Podcast in reference to his previous Off the Pill series that we talked about earlier. So Ryan initially had promised that he would upload a skit in between the videos that he wanted to make, but quickly it tapered off into him just posting podcast episodes. And originally, many people told him not to post his podcast on his main channel. The logic being that the new type of content was going to hurt his channel's overall performance, since the audience wouldn't be clicking to watch these types of videos, and the longer videos would have a lower video completion rate. But Ryan was so over all of the YouTube BS at this point that he did it anyways, since to him his options were either that he was gonna post the podcast on the main channel or he was just gonna quit. The podcast went from January 2019 to December 2019 and had around over 30 episodes. In the episodes, he would speak with other OG YouTubers, streamers, his girlfriend at the time Arden Cho, and even politician Andrew Yang. And although yeah, the numbers were down compared to what his audience was used to for his usual channel videos, the podcast was still a super successful podcast in its own right. Like, if you had nothing to compare his numbers to, it was poppin'. Like, it was getting at least a couple 100,000 views each episode, and some were getting over 1 million. He said that with his podcast, he did enjoy it more than what he was doing for his main YouTube video skits, but there was still some heaviness because it really did feel like a job at the end of the day. Like, he was very aware he was doing this to make sure that everything else with his business stayed up and running. In October 2019, we get the video Why I Haven't Been Posting, which Ryan admits is a little funny to say since technically he has been posting each week, but it's mainly just podcast episodes, and he's been posting twice a week on his second channel, Higa TV. This video mainly addresses the viewers who only really tuned in for his main channel big skit videos. He shows that he's lost 100,000 subscribers in the last 30 days, which cannot feel good. He shares more about how he's been feeling with YouTube's changes and how when he started in 2006, all he had to do was make better content and YouTube would promote it, but now there's a focus on watch time where you're incentivized to make longer videos and have people watch the video the whole way through. In the video, Ryan shares how he's tried to fight against the system and stick to his view of quality over quantity, but as time went on, it was harder and harder to do that, and he eventually just got so frustrated with YouTube. There's been videos he's posted in the last few years that he knows could have been better and that weren't ready to go out, but he had to. He says he wasn't laughing at 90% of the videos that he's posted in the last 3 years, and it would happen that the videos that he hated would do well and the ones that he would like would get the lowest views. But he says now he's apparently having fun making videos again and doing things that he wants to do, but we'll end up seeing how long that really lasts. He apologizes for taking a break without telling people beforehand, and he thanks people for sticking by and still supporting. What Ryan was essentially feeling throughout the years leading up to the end of Nigahiga was immense burnout. In his interview with Michelle, he talked about the creative process he went through on a daily basis for YouTube, which involved a lot of caffeine and an empty page on his MacBook's text editor. He would come up with any ideas, even if it's just one word, and then he'd come up with jokes and list out all of the jokes he could make for each idea. He described the process as something you could do over and over and sometimes get nothing for weeks, and just how frustrating it can be to be putting in hours of work and ending up with nothing, and then feeling like you gotta come up with something because this is your work and it's your job, and not only you, but you also have a team that relies on you for this. He was dealing with this for years, and he might have continued putting himself through it for who knows how much longer if things didn't end up playing out how they did in the following year. In March 2020, Ryan posts a video titled My Midlife Crisis, where he says that it's been the longest break that he's ever taken of not posting videos on his channel. At this point, his last video was from December 2019, so it's been about 3 months. He explains that he's been going through a lot of things in the past year, one thing being that he's no longer dating Arden Cho, which he lets people know since he did make the relationship public on his channel. He says it was not messy and it was a mutual breakup. He says he's been reflecting on his own life since he's gonna be 30 and he's kind of having a midlife crisis. The rest of the video has serious themes, but all in a very lighthearted tone. He talks about all the signs that he's getting old, like not understanding new kids' lingo, having new interests in politics and the stock market and reading, and not liking new music. Even though it's lighthearted and like hee hee ha ha with all these jokes, it does have this undertone of him having to face some questions about where he wants to proceed with his life since he's getting older. In other interviews, he shared the sentiment that after finding so much success in his early 20s, it's made him feel a bit lost because he wasn't sure what else to look forward to. I feel like it's natural to want to always be better and have more than what you already have. Like, once you achieve a goal, you might feel happy about it in the moment, but then it eventually becomes normal and wears off, and then you're just gonna want the next great thing. Ryan achieved insane success on his channel really quickly and at a young age. There needs to be studies on the psychological effects behind people achieving so much success in their early careers, since it's near impossible for them to sustain that same level for the rest of their their lives. I mean, we're seeing it here with Ryan, and we've seen it with child stars, and we've seen it in our recent O2L video with the past members sharing their mental health issues after the group disbanded. I have to hand it to Ryan. Throughout this time of him dealing with burnout and pressure and frustration, his videos never appeared to me as lazy or low effort. Even in these types of videos where he's talking about some very serious and real and relatable things like burnout or experiencing a midlife crisis, he's still able to deliver it in a humorous and more lighthearted way with skits and full-blown songs sprinkled in. I think it sort of made his eventual departure from YouTube more unreal because he gave us all of the signs. He told us that he wasn't feeling it and why he wasn't for years, but it was always delivered in such a creative way with humor that it wasn't taken as seriously as it probably should have. Come April, Nigahiga has its last video posted titled "New COVID-19 Study Confirms Beating Up Asians Does Not Prevent Coronavirus." There was a huge damper on production because of COVID. I mean, they literally could not work, and no work meant no money, and RHPC just didn't have a reason to really continue on. Around this time, Ryan also started streaming on Twitch, which we'll get into soon, but it was a combination of them not being able to continue working on main channel videos, him already not wanting to work on those main channel videos for all the reasons we just discussed, and he had something else going on that he was actually having fun with. So the channel paused. That June, there was a scandal involving RHPC member Paco, where there were allegations that he pressured someone into sex. He eventually did post an apology video addressing it, but it's since then been deleted or privated. The original full story of it has also been deleted. Like, the Twitter post still exists, but the link to view the story is now invalid. When it first came out, there was a massive unfollowing and hate train against Paco, but after Paco released his videos about it, more people were inclined to hearing him out, and they weren't saying that what he did was okay, but that there was more gray area about the situation. I'm not gonna speak my personal opinions or thoughts on it because I wasn't following this closely when it was happening at the time, and I didn't get to read the girl's side of the story or watch Paco's video. But it did spark a lot more people to anonymously come forward and share their bad experiences with him where he showed predatory behavior. Ryan did respond to this situation when it happened, since a lot of people were looking to him to comment on it. People started saying that Ryan had fired Paco in response to these allegations coming out, but the truth is that he didn't fire him because they were already not working together. Ryan shared in a Twitch stream that they had already had their last shoot together, and Ryan had told RHPC that he was taking an indefinite break from YouTube, and they had been discussing the break for months. He says the timing sucks because it looks like he's now stopping YouTube because of this scandal, but it's really not the reason. He didn't know any of this was gonna happen. He said that he reached out to Paco and told him that he needed to say something or put out a statement, and if he tells him that it's not true, then he'll support him. But Paco told him that some of it isn't true and some is, so Ryan ultimately cannot support him. Ryan also talks about how he's struggling with the situation since he's not a fan of cancel culture. He disagrees with what Paco's done and it's disturbing, but it's also hard for him to immediately dump a friend that he's known for so long. He's upset with him and believes that he does deserve a lot of the backlash that he's getting, but if people are willing to change and be a better person, then they don't deserve to be canceled forever. Which, side note, I see where Ryan is coming from. It's way harder to deal with when it's someone that you know personally and have a good image of in your head, but I also don't think that people are ever really owed the ability to come back. I don't think massive hate trains are necessary, and I never really condone that happening, but if someone does something gross and disturbing, I don't think people need to give them a second chance to change. If they do change for the better, then good. That's the ideal thing to happen, but no one is really owed their platform back. There's so many people out here creating content that you could support that haven't done disturbing things, so why support someone who has done disturbing things? That's just my opinion. Again, I see where Ryan's coming from, especially since they were real friends in real life. So RHPC and the Nigahiga channel is paused indefinitely, and Ryan is now streaming. Ryan's told his story of how he started streaming multiple times on different podcasts and interviews. He's always been a gamer, but he just didn't really show it to his audience. The other guys that he worked with also streamed, so he figured he could try it out and it could be other content for his channel. When he was setting it up, people somehow found it, and then someone posted about it on Reddit, and from there, more and more people would just kind of start showing up to his streams. He got the feeling of building something up from the beginning again and felt a sense of community. He didn't tell anyone about it or post about it on any other platforms. The whole thing felt more personal, with him recognizing different viewers' names. He would wake up and actually want to do it, which wasn't something that he was feeling with YouTube for the past many years now. Twitch to him felt like early YouTube where people were genuinely supportive and friends, and he just had so much fun and was a lot happier. Even after the continued pause of the Nigahiga channel, the members of RHPC still seemed to remain friends, with them posting some reunions sprinkled throughout the years. Greg and Dana got married in 2022, where members of RHPC were at the wedding, and Sean even did a co-stream on Ryan's Twitch channel since he came to Las Vegas for the wedding. All the RHPC members, except for Sean, seem to be still doing work in the same creative spaces with media, content creation, podcasts, or dancing. I assume Sean is working a more traditional job using his engineering degree in California with his wife, like he said he was going to do. Ryan is still streaming on Twitch, mostly Valorant. He has over 844,000 followers. He streams pretty much every day, starting in the morning and just going until whenever he feels like it. He can do it for a long time because it doesn't drain him since he's not putting in a lot of energy to perform. His chat knows that he's just chilling, and that's how he's been able to keep it up long term. He doesn't want that same burnout to happen with Twitch, so he intentionally doesn't try to overly optimize things with his channel like he did on YouTube. I watch his streams every now and then. It's nice to see him doing something that's chill and relaxing that he can have fun with, since it seems like his last years on YouTube were really hard on him. When asked if he would ever come back, he's hinted more recently that he may possibly be working on other creative things and that he could be getting back into writing, but we haven't seen anything officially get announced or released. Ryan has expressed feeling glad that he was able to end or pause the Nigahiga channel on his own terms. It's not like the views completely died out and no one was watching anymore. He was able to stop things by his own choice when it felt like the right time. He does still post on his second channel, Higa TV, with all of his Twitch stream clips. When asked about what he wanted his legacy to be, he said that he would want to be seen on the side of doing things even at the cost of being wrong or being awful. Creatives that are able to try new things and take the challenge to make things their own. And personally, I think he really did accomplish that. If he ever wants to come back to YouTube, I would be one of his supporters, but I'm also really happy for him just doing whatever makes him happy. And with all of that, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for making it this far, and please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like and subscribe to support the channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!